I have no problem repeating that.
Again.
Go. Something like that.
Okay, today is Thursday, May 18th, 2023, and I'd like to call the Southeast Polk Board of Education meeting to order. Can we have roll call, Karen?
Lori, Rick,
Here.
Bridget,
Here.
Tom,
Here.
Brett,
Here.
Chad,
Here.
Whitney,
Okay, item B, agenda adoption. Dr. Lepnik, do we have any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
There are none. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, Karen?
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Okay, item C, district mission, district vision and mission. Board Member Ernst, would you please read that for us?
Sure. Southeast Polk Community School District will learn, lead, live. Success for college, career, and civic life. Engage all students in learning a challenging curriculum delivered through quality instruction.
Thank you. If you'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's time for public comments. Item E. I'm not seeing any from the audience. Mr. Secretary, do we have any? Okay. We'll move on then. Item F, consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Moved to approve by Chad. Thank you.
Second.
Second by Tom. Any discussion?
I just making an observation of the resignation of some of our teachers. I know this time of year that contracts are renewed or not renewed. But I just, always want to keep a mindful eye on the trends that are happening and, concerns for if we're seeing a pattern of, I know there are a couple who are leaving education altogether. So just want to acknowledge that. I know the applicant pool is, we seem to be pretty fortunate here, but the applicant pool is starting to dwindle as well. So just an observation.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, thank you for those that are leaving and welcome to the new.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Anyone else have any comments? Look for a motion then.
Got it.
We already got it. Okay, Karen?
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes. Okay, time for old and new business. Confirmation of our next meeting. Look for a motion. I think our next meeting set for June 15th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, Karen?
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Okay, item B. FY24 board meeting schedule. I see we have 19 meetings scheduled between August of 23 through July of 24. Anybody have any comments about our upcoming calendar?
You have a motion on that one?
Yeah, can we get a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Now, do we have any discussion on our?
I was just glad to see that Black and Gold Night's not during a board meeting this time around. So, bumped it around.
Yeah, that is nice.
Mhm.
I'm glad it's a week ahead of time. That's good. I didn't even notice that, Chad, so thanks for pointing that out. That is good. Any other comments? Okay, Karen?
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Okay, item C is a second read of our policies, and there are 37 policies that the committee reviewed. I want to thank those that were. Mr. Horton, thank you. Whitney's not here, but Tom Nave is here, and Dr. Latham, Kevin Bacom, Karen Haynes, of course, Dr. Lupnick, and myself. We all took a lot of time reviewing these, and you've hopefully had a time to look at them. We talked about it a little bit at our last meeting. I'm looking for a motion to approve the second read.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Karen?
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Great. Item D. Enter transfer of food and nutrition to general fund. Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Chad.
I have to second that food service fund transfer.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion?
We do this every year, right?
Okay, no discussion, Karen?
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item E was quite a large packet on our information. Hopefully all of you had a chance to review it. Item E, approve resolution directing the advertisement of sale, approving electronic bidding procedures, and approving the official statement, communication, and fiscal integrity. Do I have any motion?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Thank you, Chad.
I'll have to second that one as well.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion on this large item?
Sure you guys read all of that, right?
Yeah, we read it all.
Last week I had a conference call with a member of the Standards and Poor's rating agency, along with our PFM, our financial consultant, Suzanne Gerlach. We just received word today that our bond rating will stay the same at AA-, which is good news for the school district. What that means is kind of similar to a personal credit score. It's where we're at now. So the money we go out and borrow for, we'll get more measurable, more positive interest rates for us on that money that we send out for bonds. So good news.
Good.
Do you know what the interest rates are looking like?
We set them out starting from 2 to around, I want to say it's 5.5%. So it's all within that, within the schedules, within the statements.
Okay.
Thank you. Karen?
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes. Okay, it is again Thursday, May 18th, 2023, and the time is 5:38. We will now open a public hearing to receive comments on our budget amendment. Board Secretary will provide those orally if received. Do you have any comments? Okay. Is there anyone present wishing to provide comment? Don't see anybody. Okay. Motion to approve. Oh, we have to close. Okay, close the hearing at 5:38. Do I need a motion to approve? Okay, motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the board, or the budget amendment for fiscal year 2023.
After the vigorous public discussion, I would second that.
Thank you, Tom. Karen?
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yeah.
Tom,
Yes.
Okay, item H, the fiscal year 2023 committed fund balance. Mr. McComb.
Yeah, just briefly on this, I talked about committed fund balance and flexibility accounts during the budget process. We are going to do the committed fund balance. So this balance here is for the instructional materials, the mathematics adoption that was approved by the board last board meeting, an amount of $828,800. So what this doesn't change anything from our fund balance standpoint, but it just earmarks that money within our fund balance for that, so that in the future for 23-24, our cash reserve levy can be more maximized. So we can get some of that cash back that we've spent in other subject matters like the deficit for special education, certified enrollment growth and things of that nature. So it's just it's a book entry that the board will approve every year and how we spend that.
Any questions for Mr. McCollum?
So that means that the money's not spent, but it's going to show it's spent until.
It'll be spent next year. We're just
So it's just
earmarking the
full,
funds at the
okay.
end of this year to be spent next year for that purpose.
But because it shows we're spent, that gives us more authority.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a formula. We can go through it at some point. But there's a formula that determines what our cash max is for cash reserve levy.
Doesn't give us more spending authority though, right?
No more spending authority.
Just that it's,
the bill.
otherwise it looks like we have an extra 828,000 sitting around and we can't do a cash reserve levy against that, right? Like
So the
subtracts our
yeah.
ability.
So the cash reserve levy, just real briefly again, is based on 20% of the previous year's expenditures, less your total fund balance, less committed funds. So now instead of having that committed, the whole fund balance in there, we're taking off the committed fund balance, kind of opens up an additional 828,000 available for cash reserve levy in the future for next year. It may not be that complete amount because we just don't know where expenditures are this year yet. It's all part of the formula.
That's that fund we don't like to call savings. Right?
Fund equity is our equity balance or fund balance. Yes.
That didn't answer my question, Kevin. I get you.
Any other discussion?
Thank you, Ms. McCollum.
Thank you. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Brett.
Second that.
Thanks, Tom. Karen?
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Okay, the next three items, item J, K, and, excuse me, I, J, and K are things that we need to set a public hearing for, and the suggested time is at our next meeting on June 15th. Item, I will take them one by one. Item I, set a public hearing for easement regarding the 6-7 level roadway project, City of Altoona.
I'll
Oh.
move that. We set the public hearing date for June 15th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, Karen?
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Okay, letter J. Again, set a public hearing date for easements regarding the 6-7 middle school, grade level roadway project, Pinkerton.
Motion to set a public hearing for June 15th, 2023 for easement with Jay Pinkerton.
Okay, thank you, Chad.
I can second that, Chad.
Any discussion? Okay, Karen?
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes. Okay, one more. Item K. Set a public hearing date for easements regarding the 6-7 level roadway project, Mid-American Energy.
I move we set a public hearing for June 15th, 2023 for the two easements with Mid-American Energy.
Second.
Thank you, Tom and Bridget. Any discussion? Okay, Karen?
Brett,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Moving on to agenda item 3, topics for discussion, superintendent's report.
Thank you. Some highlights from the last month and then a few updates here. The annual Dollars for Scholars event has been held. Over $255,000 was distributed to almost 175 students. Just awesome support for education of our kids from our community. Over the last week or so here, the academic honors assemblies for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Always fun celebrating academics and seeing all of our talented students. Senior Skip Day has come and gone, annual tradition of our students giving back to the community. Stands for Senior Community Improvement Project. The weather mostly cooperated. It did kind of missed a little bit, but it wasn't a full washout, which was good. Decision Day, highlighting what our seniors are going to do next. Good culture builder at the high school. Last week, we had the 35th annual, hosted the 35th annual Iowa Tech Expo. And do want to make a note that one of our own received an award, the Mike Horton Award, instrumental in starting the very first Iowa Tech Expo. And the East Polk Rotary Group has also established a scholarship in Mike's name that will be given every year. So that's just something I wanted to share here. Build Day at Spring Creek, Turner Construction came in, worked with all of our students within their homerooms where the groups would build a business from the ground up, literally the construction side of it into the actual business plan. Kids really get into this. They get very competitive. If you have a chance next year, this has become an annual thing. It's really worth seeing the action in the classrooms. We've had our final 2 board visits of the year at Altoona and Clay Elementaries. Both went very well. Had a chance to see lots of classroom experiences at Clay in particular, the zoo with the kindergarten and preschool and 5th grade classes, I guess. Pretty impressive. Just a couple reminders, graduation on Sunday, 1:30 at the Knapp Center. Be there at 12:30, park in that north lot. Also on Monday, the softball facility grand reopening ceremony, 4:45. The varsity game versus Urbandale starts at 5. So it is kind of early, I know. And then hard to believe we're talking about the last days of school. I know Lily can barely sit here because tomorrow is the seniors' last day, graduation practice in the morning. And then they're turned loose into the next step. And then for everyone else, it's next Friday, the 26th is that last day of school. And I don't want to quit without saying another public thank you to Lily for serving as our student representative and giving student voice to us throughout the year. And good luck to you in your next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Lily. Did a great job.
What are you gonna do Thursday nights?
I don't know.
Something more exciting?
You should probably watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. My boss will probably be happy with me. She's like, look, can you work this Thursday? No.
Should be like all our friends in college. Hey, come watch this meeting with me.
That's where I used to sit right there.
I think we've said that all the reps, like, come back anytime and no one's taking us up.
Never know, Lily might.
Yes, thank you. Wait,
Go ahead, Tom.
is Lori with her trainer right now? Working on.
She
the first
she
pitch?
should be.
Okay,
If she's
I
not, she
figured that's
should
why
be.
she wasn't here.
Yeah, probably that windmill.
Yep,
Probably.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
She just do one pitch or is it? You have to get a whole batter. I wonder. Maybe one of us can stand in the box or something.
Just make sure you stand behind her while she's pitching. That's all.
Yeah.
That's not even safe.
Hey, I have one question about graduation Sunday. I heard the Knapp Center has a lot of construction. I don't think on the north side where we park, but is it on the south side or does anybody know?
So the
know the
east-
east side.
the east.
East side? They're new state, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Had the right people in the crowd. Shouldn't
Prevent
affect
us
our,
from getting to that north lot.
What's that?
If you come from the east, can you get to that north?
I think you can, sort of construction, maybe has to close off sometimes, but if you go west around Nap and then weed back around. east,
No.
okay,
probably easier.
good to know.
You know the construction people do? Or the designers?
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So what color pass do I need that day?
All right. Item B, monthly financials.
This is what I've been waiting.
We'll make this really short tonight. General fund, all funds trending the same as it has been. Revenues are up in the general fund by 4%. Expenditures up 4.7%. One of the things I just noticed here, it's been going on all year, but we don't have 3-year-old preschool. So we don't have any of that old other local revenue for preschool. We got about 80 some odd thousand last year. All funds, Revenues up 4.8%, expenditures up 11.6%, mostly due to construction activities across the board. One thing with food service, if you looked at the revenues, there's a dramatic change between last year and this year. Part of it is I've been touting about getting information late from the State Department, but also remember in 21-22, all kids ate free. So all those reimbursements came back based on everybody eating meals at that point in time. Other than that, there's nothing remarkable about monthly financial statements, and I know that this is something that Lily will remember for the rest of her life. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item C. Fiscal year 24 handbooks. Thank you to everybody that was on the handbook committee. Any questions or anybody going to talk about it?
Jeannie's.
Jeannie's
out
gone,
today, and
okay,
So
okay.
if there are questions, I can pass those on, or if there's discussion that the board wants to have. Normally, this is the time for discussion, and they'll come back in June.
Okay,
One thing I saw is like, we changed the weapons, like a lot of that wordage. Like in
Right.
our policies, and
Right.
they didn't update it like in this one. They kind of went back to the old one, so I would look at that again.
yeah. Is that the high school one handbook or is it the every handbook?
Yeah, it was in the elementary, so it's probably all of
Okay.
them.
Okay,
Um,
thank you, Tom.
That's something I
That's,
noticed.
that's real important. Thank you.
This one, so.
Anybody else? I like the way they did it, how the red was striked out. I like the color coding. I don't know what the rest of you think, but
I think they do that every year. don't
yeah, it's good. Easy to understand. Any other questions or comments about the handbook? Looks like we're going to chance to. Who do we need to tell about Tom's comment though? Who do we?
I've got it
You got
written
it?
here.
Okay, okay. So we'll look for that change to be made. Other than that,
And then
anything else?
The gum snack and water bottle. In Spring Creek one,
Yeah,
just had some grammar.
okay,
Well, it didn't make sense when I read it. So water bottles are allowed at school as long as they securely closed. No lid with only a straw. So whatever they were trying to get you there, as long as they can be securely closed or whatever. So I'm guessing it probably can be, but. I think that was the only two things I had.
Probably R shouldn't be crossed out as long as they are securely closed.
right.
Yeah, something
Or,
as far
yeah.
as.
I think Chad's right. If they left the R in there, it would make sense.
And since gum is no longer included, maybe the title of that section needs to eliminate gum.
Snacks and water bottles.
Yeah, snacks and water.
Yeah, the title says gum and then it's not mentioned, right?
Right.
That would make sense. Boy, you guys did do your homework.
Press.
Yeah, nice. Any other comments?
Do you know what the change is with the hearing? Like screenings and stuff, the language was changed to be more like generic, it seems. Like, not that it's gonna happen. Certain grade levels, but that periodically they'll be provided.
I think it was to align with the upcoming law change. Which. I'm gonna butcher the language, but it's parents have to opt in. On testing, like that kind of thing. It can't just happen without knowledge of parents. I'm not sure if that's.
But the language here is if you do not want your child to participate, please contact the school nurse. So
Then
then
maybe it's opt out instead of opt in, and I've got it backwards.
okay.
I'll write that one down too.
Okay, anything else from any of you?
That was Spring Creek.
Chad, that Spring Creek?
That was all handbooks.
All hands.
That was up through the nurses. I'll dig into that one.
Okay, anything else on handbooks? Okay, item D, district office plans. We have some guests, I think. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Yeah, this should work.
Colin Barnes and Jason Bloomer here with RDG. They're our architect and design firm looking at the new administrative buildings.
Thank you. Thank you for having us today. Some of these slides may be familiar to some of you in the group. My plan tonight is to give you a brief overview of the process of the last several months, share with you what our conclusions and recommendations are to the district, and we're both happy to field any questions that you have along the way. So we have worked with your team over the, as I said, the last several months, understanding the charge that we needed a new administration office building. That process started with a series of programming, interviews, adjacency studies, various ways that we could learn more about you to understand what does this facility really need to be. We went through this exhaustive programming information to determine what's the square footage of this department, what's the square footage of that department, who needs to be next to whom. Ultimately determining the overall size needs of this facility. You can see here just over 30,000 square feet was pretty close to the number we thought was appropriate for the office needs. With that in mind, we did a very high level cost estimate with some general cost per square foot of various building components to give us some idea of what a facility of this size and quality level might cost. As you can see on the screen here, the number was rather high. It was over a $20 million project, which gave all of us a moment to pause and say, is new construction the right path for this project? And are there any opportunities within the district that we might be able to leverage? And so at that point, we started to study the Spring Creek facility. First step being a simple fit study. Taking some sketches, knowing what we already understood about these departments to see if there was a reasonable way to make that facility work for us. We walked through and did a conditions survey, looking at both the interior and exterior of the facility to start to bring to light any opportunities and challenges that might face us along the way. We also took a pretty in-depth inventory of furnishings here at the facility that could potentially be reused later on and offer us additional savings. So all of these, I recognize it's small. We can certainly provide these for you if you want a more in-depth look. The intent this evening is just to simply offer a summary of what we've done. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Jason here just to start to study this location specifically. Go ahead.
Yeah. Jason Bloom, 30G. So from a site standpoint, at the proposed location, we're using Spring Creek about 4.5 miles south of where we are now. The nice thing about that site is it offers really great proximity to the junior high, high school, and your fantastic exterior sports complexes. Go ahead, Jason.
You're ready.
Oh, I'm running it. Okay, sorry. So for the Spring Creek location, kind of zooming out on that intersection there, not a lot of major site improvements here, which is one of the big benefits to the site is we can keep our costs down from a site improvement standpoint. One of the things that we would look at is improving the wayfinding to this building. So if we have a meeting such as this, how do we make sure that the public can easily find that location? So we just proposed some simple signage along 80th Street and around the Loop Drive to the west of baseball. So that when you get to that parking lot south of the middle school, you can kind of more easily find the way that you need to go to the proposed main entry on the north side of the administration building. And then from zooming in just a little bit more, we would propose some simple improvements to the north and to the east for some simple parking lot modifications. So right now, there's a bus drop off immediately north of the north sidewalk that would no longer be needed at this site. So we would simply swap the parking stalls from the north side of the parking lot to the south side of the parking lot, so you have better ADA access into the building and some more efficiency from a parking lot standpoint. And then we would also propose some entry signage, building naming on the north portion of the site so that you can easily identify the building as you're driving along University on the north.
So looking more closely at the building itself, the first pass was a code study to figure out how much of this building do we need and is it going to provide the proper use for us? So this exercise honed in on what we ended up calling Zone A and Zone B of the facility. Zone A was going to be our priority moving forward. That was approximately the square footage that we would need for the offices. And we would prioritize finishes in that area. We would prioritize mechanical updates in that area. And zone B would be, for the most part, remain as is. There's a lot of wonderful program amenities of that part of the building that could be offered back to the community. For example, the existing gym, locker room facilities could be an advantage for youth sports. So we intentionally left that as is. There are a few exceptions to that rule, which I'll go into momentarily. Little zoomed out for you, but some good perspective about the usable spaces. So as you can see, zone A allows good proximity for each of our departments and the connectivity between them. So we've got HR, central office, business services up on the northwest side, while the southeast side is more focused on curriculum and learning. Now, the northeast corner is where we have the administration offices, as well as the future boardroom. So we'll zoom in there to give you a bit of a better look at that space. One thing while we pause on this slide that I'd like to bring to your attention is you'll notice that the circulation zones are colored two different colors. We've got green circulation and yellow circulation. So the green circulation would be public area. That's space that anyone coming in the door, once they're through the main door, could have access to. Now, the drivers for that particular route had to do with restroom access and code compliance. We tried to position each of the departments and control entries into those departments to maintain an appropriate level of security for the staff within those areas and provide the community with a positive experience. The light yellow circulation would all be controlled access only. All right, so as you look deeper in the building, when we get into records areas, more internal functionality, that's all secure. Jumping in a little closer here, this corner offered a great opportunity to create a special space for the boardroom. You can see there's ample room where we could divide off both on the south and west side. Those could be parceled out into small conference rooms, if not small, medium-sized conference rooms if needed, and then opened up for overflow as well. What we really like about this is if you notice the gray square below the boardroom, kind of central to that plan, what we came to describe as a welcome center. Knowing that families come to this facility and might bring the whole family when really only one member of that family needs a meeting. So creating a zone where kids can play and be entertained in a safe place. And maybe more informal meetings could even take place there. So that's really more of a lounge setting, a welcome area. There could be monitors there that could be used as overflow for board meetings where you're expecting really large groups. Now, looking at zone B, you see much of this is not color coded. That means it will exist as it is today. The exception to that is the area highlighted in pink. These classrooms are intended to be reused. We understand that there is some alternative coursework that these would be very valuable to have. What's great about this location is there's very close access to the building. So you might remember from Jason's site plan, there's parking to the north, just outside that northwest door. So they can park within close proximity to the classrooms, come in there, have close access to restrooms, and have a nice controlled experience within that wing of the building. All right. So I'll do a quick review of the MEP scope. We partnered with Modus for this. They participated in the site review and took a close look at all of the equipment on site. Their recommendation, well, what they found while they were on site is that much of the equipment is at end of life. So as you can see on the screen, recommendations include heat pump replacement, ventilation unit replacement, boiler replacement, still with the idea that we're going to prioritize that zone A from a mechanical standpoint. Zone B, we don't necessarily need to make as many advancements to, so there are some savings there. The one exception that we discussed as a team was in regards to sprinklers. Sprinklers we thought were a good idea to do throughout the facility from a safety standpoint. Right now, that building is not sprinkled, There are ways to work around that. If interested, you can do a fire barrier, sprinkle only the zone A portion, if that's something that the district would like us to study further. So Jason touched on a few of the opportunities within site. I wanted to share a few in regards to the architecture as well. The challenges really come in when we start to talk about the mechanical system of the building. We know that those are end of life. We know that those are pricey items. So there are some challenges to work through there. We do think this site offers great opportunity though. There's more square footage than we need for this program. There's an opportunity to leverage community space with the locker rooms and the gym. We do get that bonus classroom space as well, as Jason pointed out, ample parking. Excuse me, and just the general benefit that it's utilizing existing infrastructure without building new. We do have a few renderings to show of just some concepts that we studied. This is a look at that plaza area. So you can see there's kind of a wall in the middle that separates a semi-private table and chairs. There's some lounge furniture over to the left. The detail that you see along the wall is an idea of, we really thought hard about how do we make this not look like a school anymore and look like an office structure. And so that recess that you see in the walls is actually where the lockers once were. So using that as an opportunity to create an interesting alcove. You could certainly put monitors on that wall. You could use it for display, but gives it a really new look without the trouble of ripping walls down and putting new walls back up. Here's just a look from another perspective, same room. All right, so looking at budget, we showed you what the high level budget was for a new build. That's shown on the right on this screen. We did the same exercise with the renovation option and did go into a bit more detail. We looked at, rather than applying the same cost per square foot to the full 89,000, we prioritized again that zone A. And then, so these numbers reflect that prioritization. You can see at the bottom, we're now looking at 11.3, if my optometrist is any good. 11.3 for the renovation. So more space than we need at about half the cost. So our next steps at this point with your comments and approvals, of course, we're ready to continue documentation. The schedule that we've put forth to the district suggests kickoff as early as next month in hopes that we would secure construction documentation just after the first of the year. There would be a gap at that point where we could put the drawings on the shelf. We could work with our construction partners to really prioritize any items that need to get ordered. It's an uncertain market right now, as I'm sure you're well aware. That way we have a window. If there are certain long lead time items, we have plenty of time to get those things on site before we need them to start construction. All of this gets work done. I never like promising a timeline for a contractor because I'm not the one swinging the hammer, but the incentive here is to get that timeline so that you can then start construction through the summer and the first of the year and get everybody in the office at a time that's appropriate for you. Questions?
Just to refresh, so zone A and zone B are really the mechanical pieces with to the district, the offices versus the gymnasium.
Correct. We would.
Or is it all zone A is the new boardroom, new offices, B's the gym?
Yep.
Okay. So it doesn't just relate to mechanical.
It does relate to mechanical, but it does also relate to interior finish. So we aren't planning on updating flooring, wall treatments, lighting, anything like that in the zone B. So it would look and feel just as it is today.
Not
Whereas
even
in
new
zone
paint?
A, we would renovate that space.
Not even new paint though back there?
With the exception of the classrooms that she showed, which would be like the harbor part of things.
Yeah.
But then beyond that, I mean, yeah, we could update as needed.
Because obviously when do we have like dates of when that carpet was replaced? And I mean, it seems like if we're gonna be in there I get it, we don't want to move walls back there, but I think a new coat of paint would be at least maybe appropriate, and I'm just
Sure.
throwing it out there. I mean,
That's something we can consider, absolutely.
obviously money dependent, but I mean, are we within the budget of what we thought we were for this project?
Pre-COVID, my estimation.
So a little higher.
I mean, we have, talked with Suzanne, our financial consultant, there are plans for us to. Funding of projects, this is part of the bond. So.
Yeah, so, and I'm okay if we don't. I mean, obviously we can. I just want to make sure, maybe as we get this done, then come back and paint. Because we can do that out of the double funding too, or is that once? Because it's not new construction, we have to take it out of general fund for like. Okay. Just throwing that out there, so, I mean. Gotta throw my 2 cents out. That's why they gave me a seat at the table, I guess.
So with this, the purple boxes there, the classrooms, would that be potentially the harbor? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
And so this budget would include being able to relocate that program to, okay. And then that's is that an office? The upper right?
To the right, correct.
Okay, so that would be with like the double entry. Would there be like a window there? Like we have normally in our double entrances, I guess.
That's
Could
the
be.
intent, that could be a secured entry.
Your entry. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I will say thanks for the re-looking at that security piece, because that compared to what the first look was, I mean, gave a lot of access. So this does satisfy my mind on that security piece. So thank you.
Good, I'm glad.
Brett, one thing on security. We still have the governor's $50,000 that goes to this building as well.
Oh, okay.
And that's, that includes radio, handhelds. More work with the camera system, although it's not really going to require much because Mr. Bala invested quite a bit when he moved in as principal. And then actually, I was just measuring windows today for, looking at glass and how we can reinforce glass. She's one of those doors, the glass door.
Yeah.
It's not great. So there'll be a lot of features that go into, actually, I'm kind of moving the features to part B, because that's where the students will be. And maybe not so much into part A, other than just basic,
Yeah.
office building stuff.
Yeah, and like I said before, if you guys have to live in it, so if you're comfortable with it, I'm 100% supportive of that. But I think that's a great design as far as the public access, and then separating that piece. So yeah, that's good to know on that additional money too, because that helps.
I think there's huge benefit in having it at this location too, just the proximity. We've talked about that before, but being that close to junior high, high school, the athletic facilities, all that stuff is right there. Parking's already there. And I really like the green area there, the open space where you walk in, and obviously it does not look anything like that today, but I imagine it being a really nice, open, welcoming space. Like right now, we don't have that. As you walked in, there's really not much of an entry. So that would be really nice for families coming in to be able to hang out there, like you said. And the size of the boardroom, I mean, how does it compare to this? Is it quite a bit bigger?
Quite a bit bigger.
It's grander.
Yes. So.
Grander.
Let me jump to the plan here. The area that we're in now is similar to if the walls were extended and that area was divided up into 3 rooms. If I walk over there and point, does that work, or is there video? Yes, and that's great, thank you. So right here, there's a wall to partition off, as well as right here. So this is closer to the footprint we're in, still a little larger. So again, these can, when extended, these can be used as medium-sized conference rooms, fit about 12 people in there.
No, we won't be as high up as we are now, right? We'll be kind of down low, so we can.
That's still to be determined. We can work through those.
Whatever you guys want.
I thought we'd be higher.
But I kind of like I mean, I'd like to be more, I guess,
Ground level.
not ground level, but maybe just a little bit up so you can see who's
Yeah.
out there and,
That's true.
but this is pretty high, like you're looking down upon the people and.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my preference.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I have a question. You talked about how the gyms can still be used for like youth activities, which is great. Is there any part of this plan that is going to be able to secure certain parts of the building so that people coming in on weekends can't get to the rest of the building? I mean,
Yes.
whether
Yes.
gates or,
So right now,
locked
that's
doors
handled
or-
with locked double doors. There could be
Yeah.
fobs or whatever your
Right,
the
good.
security preference is.
good, because I'd love to see it be used, but at the same time, I don't want them walking through the whole building, you know?
one thing I think that's in your presentation, but one thing you didn't talk about that we talked about earlier was the changing of the parking.
Oh, sure.
I think that's important too for the layout of the building.
So when you look at the parking right here, just north of the building, right now, these stalls are up on the north side of this drive with the bus lane being closer to the building. So what Jason and his team actually are recommending is flipping that so that we have parking stalls on the south side of the drive, eliminating guests' needs to cross the street. So it's certainly safer for our ADA visitors, given proximity to the ramp, but truly is safe for all visitors because they aren't now having to cross the street as they approach the building.
So is this like sprinkler wise? Is this because like when we have to bring it up to code because we're doing,
Correct.
so that's like all, okay. So I was thinking, and then what are our thoughts of like phasing in all of the HVAC and all that kind of stuff? Kind of like we do now, where we kind of like replace it in shifts, or do you think it's smarter to do it like all at once?
We're only doing half of it though, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
For much of it, we're prioritizing that zone A. It's really the sprinklers that we think it's appropriate to treat the entire
Yes.
building.
Yep. I mean, because the HVAC is a massive cost. Right? That's why I was wondering if we kind of keep going the way we are and then just kind of replace things as they go, or I don't know, 'cause do we
it's a-
yank it out up front? It's just, because how old is this building?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that old to me, but that's just, I don't know.
Was this 91, Joe? 90 was the same as Willowbrook, or was it around the same?
I guess when did we put in, because was this part of our geo wells and everything, right? When we did all that? When we put in the geothermal for like the high school, was Spring Creek part of that?
Yeah,
Does anybody know?
no, Spring Creek was in before that.
Oh, no.
It's not.
Geo-
Okay.
That's, we talked a lot about just what you're saying
Yeah.
and from the mechanical engineer standpoint,
Or like get it out of there.
while you're in there, you might as well do it because it's gonna cost you much more phasing it down the road. And a lot of what we have is kind of, it won't match with what the new thing is put in there. So you're kind of better off
Just yanking it and go.
just bite the bullet is, I don't know. I mean, but it's a worthy discussion. But that was a recommendation for that.
Yeah.
Would the funding come from a different source then too? Like now with this new construction would be the PEPAL funds, but if we did it on a rolling maintenance basis, would that come from the general?
So the funding for this is coming from our geo debt, 92 million. We've got to supplement that now, so the board just approved the preliminary official statement for the 6.67 million. And then we have some leftover, we have some cash on hand with Pebble and save dollars. We anticipate, especially for the elementary school down the road, issuing bonds out of save for the elementary school. So there's some, yeah, we've got a funding activities as well.
Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Thank
Good
you
work.
for
Looks very
giving us
good.
the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Knock off about 4 million.
Yeah. Do we have a motion to adjourn?